Madigan, as I said, Anonymous Content had been developing it with the writer, and I was their first choice as a director, and so they sent it to me, and I just really, I read so many screenplays, and I mean, at that point, I was sort of despairing and saying, I really don't think I'm going to be using anybody else's material. I just can't, even in really good scripts, I can't really connect to personally. And this one really spoke to me. I connected to it immediately. I loved the way that I didn't know what was going to happen by page 20. I really had no idea all the little unexpected twists and turns it would take. And I love that. And yet, it was very believable every step of the way. I've always been attracted to something on paper that seems rather a little bit sketchy, like that could really happen in real life. Two straight men would never actually want to try and have sex with each other for an art project. That was my film forte. And then try to make a really believable, this journey for the audience that's like, oh yeah, no, I can see how that would happen. And that was what I loved about this relationship, this friendship between a 16-year-old and a 28-year-old, that it actually, the way it was written was really believable. So yeah, the characters felt very real. Again, the dialogue was great. It was just a great script, and it also, again, felt like very much in my wheelhouse, emotionally and kind of my sensibility. Change how I prepped. Well, yeah, Andrea was involved as we were sort of homing in on what was the actual budget going to be and which, what were we going to get, what were we not going to get, and so we sort of lost a few production days, and we had to, lose some page count and that kind of thing. So sometimes it was more expedient for me to be doing some rewriting, and sometimes she would do it, and we'd sort of bounce back and forth. But really, just the whole process of leading up to the shoot, I realized, this is like a way, I have to sort of combine or, figure out how to merge my voice with Andrea's. And so that was a really interesting process, and it ultimately really fulfilling one, but it was very new to me. So yeah, it was an interesting journey. I'm excited to do it again, actually. 25 days of shooting with the actors, and then about a half a day with a pickup day for, just other stuff.
That's nice.
Helicopter.
Well,
it depends on the script. We really could have used a few extra days, but any film, indie film certainly could say that for sure. So you always have to kind of do a little squeezing, but yeah.
Did you rehearse?
When we could squeeze it in, but not really. No, there wasn't really any opportunity.
That was kind of nice, because this wasn't the type of movie that you rehearse and rehearse and rehearse.
Yeah. I like to keep it fresh anyway.
Yeah, it was very just do it. Yeah.
I loved it. I had a houseboat. It was amazing. I had my proper sleepless in Seattle moment. I was like, the only thing that I know about Seattle is that Tom Hanks had a houseboat, so I want a houseboat. So I did. It was fantastic. It was really good.
There were so many of the supporting roles that we found in Seattle, and it was absolutely thrilling. It was so wonderful. So there was this little group of kids, and one of the key kids, Dylan Arnold, played. He has a very dramatic scene and a few other scenes as well, and it was absolutely delightful to find him locally. And the same with Kiera has this group of friends from high school, and 2 of the 4 people in the group were local Seattle actors. Her mom was a local Seattle actor. The guidance counselor, who I thought did a kick-ass job, was local. Seattle is actually a great theater town, and there's been a lot more filmmaking happening there. And so those theater actors are finding a lot more opportunity to get, in front of cameras and get those skills ready. So yeah, it was a great experience. I had a great local casting director who goes back and forth between LA and Seattle, and just found all kinds of great people for us.
For the actors, they don't need to live in Los Angeles anymore?
Yeah, that's a good question. It really depends on your region. Like, for instance, Austin. If there are these little regional film centers, and if there's enough work going on, you can make a living. And I do know people who are making a living at it up there. So, yeah.
No, we just made it really real. It was really easy working with Chloë. Being best friends and being high schoolers. It was really easy, and just going for it too, because we just had so much fun.
I had this weird anxiety about how are we going to manufacture this, bond. I don't know why. And then the 2 of them just got together, and that slumber party scene where they're on the bed together. It was just delightful.
Being ourselves.
So fun to see them just riff and go. And I was just like, oh my god, I could watch this, for hours and hours. It was great.
Did you know each other before?
No, we just jumped in, met, and we just
Went with it.
Yeah.
Again, it's like the situation with Kiera. I mean, it's like, you know, when someone's like normal and not, you know, obviously like out to get you in some sort of way, or vice versa, you just get along.
I was out to get you. I just wanted to.
She's just a great actor. She's just a really good actor. Yeah. Apparently.
Bigger budget is, I actually find it more difficult because the amount of waiting time between setups, the amount of setups that they do and trying to kind of retain like an emotional kind of thing is really hard. Like, I always take my hat off to anybody who's doing those big budget green screen things, because the green screen kind of saps all the energy out of you. And you sort of, so fighting through that is what's wonderful about independent film for an actor, is that you just have to keep go. You know, there's no time to think. There's no kind of going back and sitting in a trailer and sort of sitting there for ages and losing anything. It's just, you've got to keep moving. I love that. I mean, equally, you have to get it right, which I suppose is quite frightening as well. But I think a lot of actors like the kind of adrenaline of it. It's not like theatre, but there's a similar kind of, you know, you can't get it wrong. You have to get it right and go. Obviously, on a bigger budget, you can kind of go back, you can reshoot, you can kind of try and do stuff like that, which sometimes is good and sometimes isn't, you know. So.
Is it any easier to get into character when you're actually in real locations as opposed to on stages?
Yeah, it's much. I mean, it is
artificiality.
Much
is sort
yeah,
of,
if you see the real.
Yeah.
You cannot.
Yeah, it was like the Tom Hanks, Paul Rudd kind of part, the Jimmy Stewart part. It's got some other elements maybe too, but Humphrey Bogart, I like that. But you know, yeah, a lawyer.
For breaking entertainment news and more, follow @HitFix on Twitter or visit hitfix.com.